We're living in this wild era of constant disruption, right? And it can feel pretty chaotic. But what if all that chaos isn't something to be afraid of? What if the fact that all the old, stable frameworks are shattering is actually the best thing that could happen to us?
Here's the core of the problem. The models for success, the playbooks we were all handed, they're totally broken. Following them now is like trying to use a map from the 1800s to navigate downtown Tokyo. You're not just going to get lost, you're being led straight towards a cliff. So if the old maps are completely useless, where on earth do we find a new compass? How do we even start to think in a new way? Well, the answer, and this might surprise you, comes from a philosopher who's been dead for more than 100 years.
Yeah, our guide for this journey is none other than the 19th century German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. And hey, forget everything you think you know about him. All the doom and gloom stereotypes, not the real story. Nietzsche actually saw himself as a physician of culture. Someone could diagnose the sickness in old, dying ideas and, more importantly, offer a cure.
The popular image of Nietzsche is just wrong. It's all darkness and despair. But the reality? His philosophy is all about recovery, about having the courage to shed an old, sick skin so you can emerge with a kind of second clarity. He was after a joyful kind of wisdom.
In fact, the title of his most optimistic book, The Gay Science, was totally intentional. He borrowed the phrase la Gaia Scienza from medieval troubadours to champion this idea of a joyful, artistic way of knowing things. It was a complete rebellion against the stuffy, boring, life-denying philosophy of his time.
And that leads us to the first big principle. See, real breakthroughs, the game-changing ones, they don't happen with tiny tweaks. They start when you have the courage to look at the old way of doing things and admit, this is dead. And you have to see that collapse not as a total disaster, but as a beautiful, blank canvas. Okay, this is probably Nietzsche's most famous and most misunderstood line. Now, this isn't a religious declaration. It's a scene from one of his books where a character, a madman, who sees the world differently, runs into a marketplace yelling these exact words.
What he was really doing was diagnosing a massive cultural earthquake. For centuries, Western civilization had operated from a single, universal rulebook that told everyone how to live. Nietzsche was the guy brave enough to shout that the rulebook was gone. And yeah, its collapse left this terrifying void, but it also created this incredible, unprecedented opening to create something totally new. And we see this death of the rulebook happening all around us today, right? It's Blockbuster getting wiped out by Netflix. It's the entire taxi industry being flipped upside down by ride-sharing apps. It's basically any company that stubbornly clings to the old way of doing things while the rest of the world just moves on. So in this new, wide-open space, Nietzsche offers us a new kind of hero, the artist-philosopher. And this is the perfect model for a modern leader. It's someone who gets that when there's no map, you don't wander around looking for a path. You draw your own. You become a creator of value, not just another cog in an old machine.
But, just seeing the blank canvas, that's only the first step. You need a powerful force to actually start painting on it. And that brings us to our second principle, this raw creative energy that Nietzsche believed was the engine of all life.
He called this the will to power, and I promise it's not what you think it is. This has nothing to do with dominating other people. Think of it as a deep, internal, creative fire. It's the drive inside every living thing to grow, to overcome challenges, to master itself, and to expand its own purpose. It's life's desire to become more than it already is.
We see this fire all over the place. It's that founder who gets told no 100 times, but just keeps pushing. It's the team that pulls an all-nighter to crack a problem that everyone else said was impossible. It's you learning a new skill in your spare time, not because your boss told you to, but because you want to become a more capable version of yourself. But this fire, it needs something to burn against.
So what is the secret to not just getting through the struggle, but actually thriving because of it? Well, that leads us to our third and maybe most powerful principle, the art of loving your fate. Nietzsche called it amor fati.
Amor fati literally means love your fate. But this isn't about just passively accepting whatever happens to you. No, it's about actively, passionately embracing everything. For Nietzsche, the formula for greatness was to want nothing to be different, not in the past, not in the future. It's the strength to look at every single moment, good and bad, and say a defiant yes. It's like the ultimate superpower, getting stronger from every single hit you take.
To see if you have this superpower, Nietzsche gives us this really intense thought experiment.
Imagine a demon appears to you in your darkest moment, and it whispers a secret. You have to relive your entire life, every single detail, exactly as it happened, over and over again, for eternity.
Every single pain, every joy, every boring meeting, every failed project, every mistake, every single victory. You have to live through it all again in the exact same sequence forever. What is your immediate gut reaction to that?
Your answer to that question tells you everything. Do you just crumble in terror, crushed by the thought of reliving all that pain? Or do you stand up tall, look that demon in the eye and shout, "Yes, bring it on, again"? To be able to say yes means you've mastered amor fati. It means you understand that every single part of your story, especially the ugly parts, was necessary to forge you into who you are right now.
So let's bring this all together. What does this all mean for us? Well, these three ideas, they aren't just random philosophical concepts. They form a complete system, a blueprint for creating something new and meaningful in a world that feels chaotic. It's a guide to becoming the artist-philosopher of your own life and your own work. So here it is, step by step. 1. You see the void as your canvas. The death of the old rules isn't a crisis. It's your permission slip to start creating. 2. You harness your creative drive. That will to power is the engine for your relentless growth. And 3. You love your entire journey. Amor fati is the ultimate resilience, turning every single obstacle into fuel for your fire. So I want to leave you with a challenge. Think about your work, your industry, your life. Find the biggest sacred cow, that one unspoken rule that everybody follows without ever questioning it. And then ask yourself this: what would I build if I knew for a fact that that rule was already dead? What would I create?
That feeling right there, that's the joyous science. That's the art of the breakthrough. It's time to stop thinking in the old, depressing ways. Become the artist-philosopher of your own life. See your work not just as a job, but as a masterpiece that you are creating, day in and day out. Embrace the joyous wisdom of your own journey. Your masterpiece is waiting for you to build it.